Banking with Capital One helps you keep more money in your wallet with no fees or minimums on checking accounts and no overdraft fees. Just ask the Capital One bank guy. It's pretty much all he talks about, in a good way. He'd also tell you that this podcast is his favorite podcast, too. Ah, really? Thanks, Capital One bank guy. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Hey, it's Paige from Giggly Squad. Let's talk about an elite green flag being a cat dad. Temptations, America's #1 cat treat brand, is making 2025 the year of the cat dad, and honestly, about time. Whether he's coordinating snack time with the meow schedule or just vibing with his tabby, Temptation treats make cat dads even more irresistible to their cats and to us. For more information about Temptation's brand Cat Dads or to learn more about the brand, visit TemptationTreats.com. And don't forget to share your own #CatDad sightings on social. We'll be scrolling.
This is Car Tracks with Turtle Wax. Your car says a lot about you. So if we asked your car what it would say about you, what would it say?
Listen, you dropped one of those tiny cheeseburgers under the seat like last week, and now we're both dry heaving at the stench. Do us a favor, grab some turtle wax, and let's get to work.
This has been Car Tracks with Turtle Wax. You are how you car.
Heather is a nurse practitioner from United Healthcare.
We meet patients wherever they live.
During a house call, she found Jack had an issue.
Jack's blood pressure was dangerously high.
It was 217 over 110.
So they got Jack to the hospital and got him the help he needed.
He had had a stent placed in his heart, preventing a massive heart attack.
If it wasn't for my guardian angel, I wouldn't be here.
Hear more stories like Jack's at UnitedHealthcare.com. Benefits, features, and/or devices vary by plan, area, limitation, and exclusions apply.
This is the Daily Tech News for Friday, June 27th, 2025. We tell you what you need to know, follow up on context, try to help each other understand.
Today, do you want to use Google app to virtually try on clothes?
Maybe. I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm Jenn Cutter.
Let's start with what we need to know with the big story. Google launched a new app called Doppel. And of course, in the fine tradition of naming apps and websites, it doesn't have a vowel between the P and the L. It's just D-O-P-P-L, Doppel. It can show how clothing will look on you virtually. So the first thing you do is you upload a full body photo of yourself. To be honest, that's the thing that tripped me up from trying it out. I'm here in a hotel room alone. So finding a way to make a full body photo of myself proved more difficult than I was willing to put the time in to try it yet. But should you be able to do that, you can then provide photos of clothing you'd like to see on you. And those can be things that you took a picture of, on someone on the street or a friend, or a screenshot from something you see online. You're watching a TV show and you're like, ooh, I really like that outfit. Doppel then creates a virtual version of you wearing that outfit. And if you want, it can make a short video where you do a little twirl so you can see how it drapes and moves and all of that. You can then save those for later. You can share them with others. At this point, there's not a connection to Google Shopping, which you might have thought there was, but you can virtually try on outfits in Google Shopping right now as well. This Doppel is built on the same technology that's used there. I think it just has a few more bells and whistles. You can get Doppel if you're in the United States and use Android or iOS. This isn't the first of these kinds of things. There's been lots of attempts, usually by Amazon. In fact, Amazon still lets you do virtual try-ons. You can use augmented reality to try on shoes and glasses and lipstick. There are plenty of others. There's a project called Colors with a K you can find on Hugging Face. Companies like Wana and Oglio let you use augmented reality to try on accessories and cosmetics. There are plenty more, but usually it is in my camera, show this on me in an augmented reality way versus what Google's doing, which is more of a virtualization using multimodal models. Amazon even patented a mirror for this kind of thing. And you may remember for a short period of time, they sold something called the Echo Look that would analyze your outfit and give you advice on whether stuff worked together or not. Jed, is this one of those things that makes a great demo but nobody wants? Because it seems like we've been trying to make this work for a long time.
I remember covering the Echo Look when that was announced. I have a different hang up than you when it comes to using these services. I remember using them like in the very early days for like makeup and stuff because I have no idea what my colors are. I'm not a makeup person. I was spoiled on television when other people did that for me. But uploading my picture, and again, this is the early days. I know things are better now. With my particular skin tone, it had problems.
Yeah.
It was clearly made for people who are lighter than I am. And these days, my hang up is, do I want to give these people a full image of my body? Because I am on the paranoid side of things. And that has been my real holdback here. Now, this is only available in the US, so I can't test it anyway. But I do want something like this. Mentally, I want this. I want to be able to try on a whole bunch of things without having to go to 900 stores. Seeing how it moves, I'm still not sold that they'll be able to get that right with the various fabrics because I have also bought stuff online, as I'm sure many of you have, that was not the fabric listed in the description.
Yeah. No, well, I hadn't even thought about that part of it because there's a lot of failure points in the chain. None of them are unsolvable, but things to be like, I don't want to rely on this until I'm sure they've figured it out. The demo that they show is of a black woman, so I think they're trying to say, hey, we have definitely trained this model on a variety of skin tones now, but they're also not going straight for cosmetics, so maybe that's less of an issue with various things. But the way colors match with your skin is important, so it's not important. I hadn't even thought about the fact that I had thought about the fact that, well, how good are they going to be at knowing what material is actually there and how it moves and all of that? I hadn't even thought about the fact that, and then are they going to make sure that that's the material you get when you order it, right? Because those are two parts of that, two sides of that.
No, that is top of mind for me because, one, it's summer and summer dresses are a thing. And two, wedding prep for friends' weddings and bridesmaid dresses. You'll hear, okay, so the bodice is this, and then, the bottom flows because it's that. And for the ones that have arms, those are this fabric. Because it's so much stuff in one dress. And, I understand why it costs $1 billion, but, okay, having to go to all these stores and do all these, I know it's a wedding event and all that stuff. But, yes, I would have loved to have simplified that process.
I think that's my problem with these apps is they're really not good at that. You're still going to have to go to a fitting if you really want to get your dress to look right and have the right feel. This is for casual stuff to be like, I kind of like that top. Let me see if it looks good on me. But is that compelling enough to use this? You know what I mean? Not that it's a lot of trouble, but there's some friction points in having to get a full body scan. And then even once you've done that, open the app and then find the photo. I'm not sure how many people are just going to do that in everyday life.
Well, these days, again, from the old days, you had to make sure your photo was perfect. My government ID had less requirements for a photo being perfect than those early apps. These days, it'll correct a lot of stuff for you in these. It's a lot simpler. It's okay, are you in a position to get a full body shot? Great. We're going to make it work, whatever it is.
Yeah, but you had to really, really want that blouse that you saw on that Netflix show to bother taking a picture of the screen because Netflix blocks screenshots on your laptop and
good point.
I just feel like I really do, and maybe folks you can weigh on this if you disagree with me, especially feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. I feel like this is one of those things when they show off travel planning at developers conferences and it looks great, but you're like, I'm never going to do that. That's not how I do my travel planning. It feels like that. These are things that sound great and look fun in the demo, but when it comes to it, I don't know how many people are really going to do it on a regular basis.
Yeah. I don't know if this one is there yet, but I just like that they keep iterating and trying it because I think eventually we're going to get to a pretty usable standard thing where this just comes with stuff. It's not, it's more of a default than a bonus.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. There is enough of a demand for the idea of this that at some point they'll get it to a state that works, and then people will use it.
DTNS is made possible by you, the listener. Thanks to Carmine Bailey, Chris Beneteau, Jeffrey Zilks, and our new patron, Eiler. Welcome, Eiler.
New patron.
Ready to order?
Yes.
We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver Card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
This is Car Tracks with Turtle Wax. Your car says a lot about you. So if we asked your car what it would say about you, what would it say?
Listen, you dropped one of those tiny cheeseburgers under the seat like last week, and now we're both dry heaving at the stench. Do us a favor, grab some turtle wax, and let's get to work.
This has been Car Tracks with Turtle Wax. You are how you car.
Hey, this is Josie Santi from the Every Girl podcast, and this episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Summer's here, and Nordstrom has everything you need for your best dressed season ever. From beach days and weddings to weekend getaways and your everyday wardrobe, discover stylish options under $100 from tons of your favorite brands like Mango, Skims, Princess Polly, and Madewell. It's easy, too, with free shipping and free returns, in-store order pickup, and more. Shop today, in stores, online at Nordstrom.com, or download the Nordstrom app.
Heather is a nurse practitioner from United Healthcare.
We meet patients wherever they live.
During a house call, she found Jack had an issue.
Jack's blood pressure was dangerously high.
It was 217 over 110.
So they got Jack to the hospital and got him the help he needed.
He had had a stent placed in his heart, preventing a massive heart attack.
If it wasn't for my guardian angel, I wouldn't be here.
Hear more stories like Jack's at UnitedHealthcare.com. Benefits, features, and/or devices vary by plan, area, limitation, and exclusions apply.
Each customer is unique. Every shopper is different. So why are your e-commerce search results still one size fits all? Generic experiences don't create loyal customers. They drive them away. Coveo's AI search delivers relevance at every step, anticipating what shoppers want even before they ask. The result? Better discovery, higher conversions, more profit. Visit Coveo.com/commerce to see how it works.
There's more we need to know today. Let's get to the briefs.
Ars Technica's latest tests show that game ports for the Linux-based SteamOS now run at a higher frame rate than on Windows 11. This is the first time SteamOS has outperformed Windows in Ars's metrics. Ars Technica performed its test on a Lenovo Legion Go S, which is designed to run SteamOS or Windows 11. One reason is that SteamOS games can run faster despite the translation layer is because Windows has a lot of overhead that's not exactly necessary for games that SteamOS does not. This is one of the reasons that the Xbox experience for handheld, running on the ROG Ally, has been slimmed down to minimize background activity and defer non-essential tasks. In related news, the Xbox app for Windows now lists games you've installed from Steam, Epic, Ubisoft, Riot, and Battle.net game launchers, so you can start them right from the Xbox app.
Yeah, this is interesting. I love that ours used the Legion Go so that they were sort of eliminating the idea of having to, do workarounds to get Windows. Legion Go is designed for both of those. It's not trying to say that SteamOS is better. It's just saying SteamOS got to parity, even though they have to use the Proton layer for translation, which is a testament to how good the SteamOS port is at this. Meanwhile, Microsoft's over there saying, we have developed a thing that will make us better at this too, and we just added the launchers so that everything works there. This is fun. This is a fun little space to keep an eye on.
I think this is an everybody wins scenario.
Definitely.
Because for people who are using Windows and can only use Windows, now you've got all your games in one spot, as we've dreamed about for ages. And then for people who use SteamOS, they're like, yay, we win, we're awesome, we're the best.
We at least at frame rates in this test on a Legion Go. But to me, that says okay, these are good options either way, right? You can't lose. You're going to have a decent experience here. I know that people want to have bragging rights because they divide up into teams on this stuff, but
console wars. is.
Yeah. But it really is good for everyone. You're absolutely right about that. And if anybody's concerned about the Xbox app on Windows, they aren't trying to disintermediate you from your platform. They will tell you which platform the game is coming from when in the interface. That way, if you need to go get downloadable content or you want to go directly there, you're not losing track of where it is. They're just trying to make it easier to launch the game. An update to Windows 11 does not remove the famed BSOD, but it does change the B from blue to black. The new black screen of death will also have less information on it when your system crashes. Not that the old blue screen of death's information was often all that useful for folks, but the new error screen will give you an error code and the name of the driver or other file at fault for the crash. The QR code is gone. Some people may not even realize it was there, but the blue screen of death had a QR code for a while that would take you to troubleshooting information. That's not there. You just get the error code and the name of the file. Also, Windows launching Quick Machine Recovery along with the black screen of death that uses Windows Recovery Environment to recover from repeated crashes or reboots so that they can get you back on your feet faster. The new black screen of death, which I know Microsoft probably hates it every time I'm saying that because that's not what they want it to be called. But that new error screen is available to Windows insiders right now and will roll out to all later this summer as part of Windows 11 version 24H2.
Yeah, BSODs will never die.
No, it's still the BSOD.
It's like, the Skydome is the Skydome, no matter how many times announcers call it the Rogers Center. It's not going to matter.
Yeah, exactly.
After a brief pause, Google is restarting the rollout of its Ask Photos feature in the US. Google paused the rollout because of latency and interface issues. The new rollout now combines the existing search with the Gemini-powered one, so you get simple results fast, and then the more complex Gemini-powered ones will fill in when they're ready. Google also announced Gemma 3N and generative model for mobile devices. It's designed for developers to modify and include in their apps without needing to use Google's cloud service. It can natively process images, audio, and video to generate text and run on hardware with as little as 2 gigs of RAM.
Yeah, the Gemma 3N is really interesting. It's another example of a more open approach by Google to a lot of this stuff. They're taking a hybrid approach. Some stuff is very proprietary, but this is not. So that's pretty good for developers, and you will see more features be able to be included in developer apps. And then I think what Google hopes is those developers will then like Google products and use them more in places where they can make money off of them. And the Ask Photos feature, I wonder how this is going to work in practice when you've got latent results populating, but at least you're not going to be sitting there waiting for results all the time, so that's good. Germany's Data Protection Commissioner has determined that China's DeepSeek transfers German user data to Chinese servers in violation of EU data protection rules. In order to be in compliance, DeepSeek needs to demonstrate that user data stored in China is protected at a level equivalent to what it would be in the EU, and they have not done that to Germany's satisfaction. The commissioner asked Google and Apple to review whether those apps should be allowed in the stores, given that finding, while an EU-wide investigation is carried out. That could lead to an order to remove DeepSeek from the stores. So they're basically saying, hey, you might want to look at whether these violate your own policies for now, while they look at maybe justifying a complete European ban. There is some support for that. Italy already has banned DeepSeek inside of its country. They did that back in February. Ireland has requested more information on how DeepSeek processes user data. So there's momentum to do this.
Yeah, I had not seen before. I know companies have and nations have had issues with things being stored in China, but the demand to demonstrate that data on Chinese servers is protected at an EU equivalent level, that almost feels like progress. They're not saying like, no, get it out of China 100%. Mm-hmm. They're saying just prove to us that this meets the standards we have here.
This was the problem with storing data in the U.S. for the longest time, because they had a safe harbor provision that was struck down by the EU courts, and they had to figure out how to prove this equivalency in the U.S. too. So, yeah, it's interesting to see that be applied to China.
Passengers on domestic flights in China will no longer be allowed to bring aboard power banks unless they have the China Compulsory Certification Mark. The mark must not be faded or illegible, and the device must not be subject to a recall. Passengers with such a device may have their power bank confiscated or denied boarding. Along with this, the Civil Aviation Administration of China has called for improved charging facilities for passengers in airport terminals, which is a boon to anyone in airport terminals.
Yeah, anybody doing a layover is going to like that. They basically want people to not feel like they have to bring those extra batteries. I don't think that's going to happen, but if they improve the charging, that's great. And anybody flying through China, changing planes in Shenzhen or Beijing, or even in Hong Kong, honestly, because I think this will apply there as well, are going to need to know about this and hopefully benefit from it. Apple and Meta have announced their proposed changes to correct violations of the Digital Markets Act in Europe. Apple will let developers promote offers outside the App Store across external websites, apps, and marketplaces. Before, it could just be to one app. Can include in-app web views and promotions. Links can include tracking parameters now, point to multiple destinations, not just that static web page. And the link and promotion can be designed any way the developer wishes. They removed the restrictions on that. Apple will still give a warning page just to let people know that they're leaving the Apple ecosystem, but users will now have the option to choose not to see that warning after the first time. Before, it happened every time you clicked that link. Apple also reduced the fees that it charges on any customer acquired outside of its App Store. We'll see if that's an acceptable fee to the EU. And there's a new core technology commission instead of a core technology fee. Before, it was 50 cents per user. Now it's 5% of what is made off that user. For developers who agree to the standard business terms, that will apply immediately and eventually will apply to all developers by January 1st. Meanwhile, the European Commission is not optimistic that Meta's changes are going to avoid fines. Meta originally offered users the option of paying for no tracking or getting tracked to use the free version. That was considered a breach of the DMA, so Meta has now changed it to use less personal data for the free service. A spokesperson from the European Union told Reuters, the Commission cannot confirm at this stage if these are sufficient to comply with the main parameters of compliance outlined in its non-compliance decision, which is a long way of saying, I don't know if that washes. They may get fined.
Well, I want to say credit to Apple. That's I'm sure that they kind of knew they would end up in this position eventually, and they had been delaying it as long as possible. This feels, again, not being a lawyer and definitely not being a lawyer in the EU, this feels like this should pass. I don't know how much lower they can go without just saying, like, maybe we'll just leave this area.
Well, they could just not they could just not charge people for things that don't happen on their platform. I don't think they're going to do that. It is still unnecessarily complex, but it sounds like they worked with the EU and they were talking well and reached some agreements. So that feels like it's going in the right direction, like you said. Meta, on the other hand, is accusing the EU of consistently moving the goal line, and and the EU is saying, like, I don't think what you're doing is right. So those two are not talking well.
Yeah, well, the Meta stuff, like, I'm scared that one's going to eventually happen here too. But there's nothing about the Meta thing that feels good as an end user. You feel like you're losing both ways. You feel like, okay, either I have to give these guys money or I have to consent to, I don't know, because I've never read a privacy policy from just a general user perspective.
I mean, you could also just not use it.
Yeah, that's always the option.
I feel like that's where a lot of people should be ending up, and instead they're like, but I want to keep using it. It's like, well, maybe it's not worth it. I don't know.
The Apple warnings I find kind of interesting. I like them. I would want, again, using my parents always as a constant example, I would want my parents to know every time, hey, this is what you're doing. Do not always turn this off. It's like turning off, Windows Defender and never ever being asked about that.
It's just for that link, right? So what was happening before is people were getting frustrated, like, yeah, I know. And so giving you the option to turn it off means it won't turn off on its own, and it'll still be there for other.
Oh, okay. I thought this was going to be like a universal toggle, and I was like, oh, no.
Unless I'm misunderstanding it, I think it's just for individual apps.
A Japanese court ruled that Google infringed on patents from Pantech in the Pixel 7 series of smartphones and may no longer sell the Pixel 7 in Japan. The patent involved signal mapping for LTE service. Pantech is pursuing a more relevant ban on sales of the Pixel 8 and Pixel 9 series. Japan is one of the strongest markets for Pixel sales.
Yeah. Pantech stopped selling phones a while ago, so it feels like they're headed towards patent troll country with this. I'm not sure that Google is selling a whole lot of Pixel 7s, but if they could get the 8 or 9 band, then yeah, that would hurt. New York Times reports that former Uber founder and CEO Travis Kalanick is attempting to put together an offer to buy the U.S. operations of China's autonomous vehicle company Pony AI. The Times says Uber may be involved in the transaction in some way, helping facilitate it, but this would not involve Uber as an owner, maybe as a shareholder. It would be Kalanick getting back into the autonomous vehicle game.
The BBC has introduced a paid service in the U.S. for $50 a year or $9 a month. Paying users will have access to most BBC News stories and the streaming BBC News video channel. Non-paying users will still have access to some stories as well as world service, language services, newsletters, and podcasts.
I'll be honest, this feels like the wrong move to me. I used to be a BBC dedicated reader every day, and about a year ago they changed how they present the stories and the tone of a lot of the stories in a way that has me not reading them as often. I still listen to the BBC World Service every day, so I'm glad that that's still going to be, without charge. I'd be happy to pay for the BBC World Service, though. I'm not in a position where I feel like I need to pay for the app. It may make me use it less.
Yeah, well, once they redesigned their websites, I also noticed the tone shift, but I wasn't sure if it was like just me or just a couple of writers. But
if it's just you, it's just us, because I definitely noticed it too. This last bit is probably only a news story for me and the folks who follow what I use. But right now I'm using ExpressVPN because I'm in a hotel. ExpressVPN has been my regular VPN service for years now. It just published the results of an independent audit from accounting firm KPMG, which found reasonable assurance that the VPN provider system prevents the logging of user activity. This was a not the most comprehensive investigation that they can do, which is why it's reasonable assurance. But it's a good one, and KPMG is a reliable service. So this is not bad news. They didn't find anything bad in the level of looking that they were doing. ExpressVPN uses RAM-based services, which wipe all memory when rebooted. They didn't find any logging even when they weren't rebooting, but the fact that they use that RAM-based service means anytime they reboot, then the logs are just gone if they were there, and so that's good news. NordVPN uses RAM-based services too. ProtonVPN uses strongly encrypted drives, which it argues is better because you don't have to reboot to make sure there's nothing there. It's just all encrypted so they can't see it.
What do you want to hear us talk about on the show? One way to let us know is in our subreddit, so you can submit stories and vote on them at reddit.com/r/dailytechnewsshow.
And now, a next-level moment from AT&T Business. Say you've sent out a gigantic shipment of pillows, and they need to be there in time for International Sleep Day. You've got AT&T 5G, so you're fully confident. But the vendor isn't responding, and International Sleep Day is tomorrow. Luckily, AT&T 5G lets you deal with any issues with ease, so the pillows will get delivered and everyone can sleep soundly, especially you. AT&T 5G requires a compatible plan and device. Coverage not available everywhere. Learn more at att.com/5G network.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything! The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu!
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
We end every episode of DTNS with some shared wisdom. Today, Mike has some praise for us.
Yeah, I have a couple of emails here. We got Mike and Mark. Mike wrote, "Short one, Tom, but just listening to today's briefing on Thursday, and I felt moved to say the tone, perspicacity, and pod chemistry of your new co-hosts, Jenn Cutter, Wen Tui Dao, Jason Howell, is a wonderful kind of special to hear. Add to this the rare but cherished occasional appearance by Sarah Lane is such a joy. The briefing has become, as with live, a gem in your pod portfolio. Regards, Mike A."
Aw, thank you, Mike A. We really appreciate hearing when we're doing things well as we get anything wrong or anything else you guys want to contribute. We love your letters.
And you know what I like about this? Mike's been a big supporter of the show for a long time, and I can't thank him enough for his support. And he's always honest. He has told me when things are rubbing him the wrong way or don't seem to work as well, and I've appreciated those as well. So hearing this from Mike meant a little more for me, too, because I'm like, oh, he wouldn't just be saying this out of nowhere. And I had the same reaction listening to the show yesterday. I was like, wow, this is a really good show, even though I'm not on it. So it was really special to see Mike's email follow up on that. And then Mark wrote, thank you, Bart Bouchatz. Raindrop.io is exactly what I've been looking for to keep track of sites instead of leaving 80 tabs open on 3 different devices. This was an excellent recommendation. Mark, I'm glad Bart's insights worked for you. That's awesome.
Yep. I have the highest amount of respect for DTNS fans for all the comments I receive on my personal socials as well. And yeah, I learn a lot from doing this show because Raindrop.io is like, oh, I am that person with literally 1,000+ tabs open, and I need to be better with that in my own research.
Have you started using Raindrop?
No, I have it bookmarked in my 1,000 tabs right now.
You got to sort through it and find it. Yeah, it's a little chicken and the egg issue, huh? That's funny.
So what are you thinking about? Do you have some insight into a story? Please share it with us, as I said, over at feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
Also, big thanks to Mark and Mike for contributing to today's show. We appreciate getting multiple emails from folks. Keep them coming. Also, thank you for being along for Daily Tech News Show. You can keep us in business by becoming a patron at patreon.com/DTNS. This week's episodes of Daily Tech News Show Briefing were created by the following people: host, producer, and writer Tom Merritt, host and writer Jason Howell, co-host Rob Dunwood, co-host Jenn Cutter, producer Anthony Lemos, producer Roger Chang, editor Hammond Chamberlain, editor Victor Bognot, science correspondent Dr. Nikki Ackermans, social media producer and moderator Zoe Detterding. Our mods: Beatmaster, W. Scottus1, BioCow, Captain Kipper, Steve Godorama, Paul Reese, Matthew J. Stevens, a.k.a. Gadget Virtuoso, and J.D. Galloway. Mod and video hosting by Dan Christensen. Music provided by Martin Bell and Dan Luters. Art by Len Peralta. Acast ad support from Tatiana Matias. Patreon support from Tom McNeil. Our guests this week included Andy Beach, Bart Bouchatz, and Patrick Beja. And thanks to all our patrons who make the show possible.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver Card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Every idea starts with a problem. Warby Parker's was simple. Glasses are too expensive. So they set out to change that. By designing glasses in-house and selling directly to customers, they're able to offer prescription eyewear that's expertly crafted and unexpectedly affordable. Warby Parker glasses are made from premium materials like impact-resistant polycarbonate and custom acetate. And they start at just $95, including prescription lenses. Get glasses made from the good stuff. Stop by a Warby Parker store near you.